welcome to the webinar today with Finshark. With the topic is open banking really revolutionizing online payments. So having said that, I think it's about time for me to share my screen and go into the material. And also, just as a super quick introduction, we have actually realized that we have so many exciting things to cover today that we decided to totally skip the company introduction, bragging about our customers. We love them, of course, but we decided to just skip that part to go straight into the topic of online payments. So I'm going to share my screen. And there we go. All right. So today's item for the webinar is open banking really revolutionizing open payments, and we realized that the best way to go about this is probably to actually compare open banking payments, what we call direct payments here at Finshark, with some of the existing and popular payment solutions out there on the market. And to be honest, it is a fragmented, sometimes difficult market and landscape to grasp. Lots of different options, lots of different packages and so on, lots of different solutions both on the front end and the back end. And of course, you always want to make sure that you have the best solution. But what is the best solution and what is most suitable for your type of business? And could that potentially also be changing? So today we are comparing 4 different payment methods and just putting them, pitching them versus each other. So we are pitching card versus Swish versus invoices versus direct payments, and trying to see who will potentially come out on top. So we are scoring each of these 4 solutions on a score 1 to 5, where 5 of course is the best and 1 is the lowest score, using 6 different key criteria. And we'll get back to those criteria as we move into the comparison. But I think that this is a great way to approach the landscape, to put these different solutions towards each other. And of course, I just wanted to mention something that we get a lot of questions about before moving into the comparison. What about Bankgiro, or what about Autogiro? That is an existing infrastructure that we get a lot of questions about. Is Bankgiro or Autogiro disappearing? Will we not be able to use Autogiro to get paid in the future and so on? And this is not a webinar about Bankgiro or Autogiro, but I thought it would be a good timing just to briefly cover it so that you know that this is something that you ought to look more into. The whole Giro infrastructure was actually created and launched already back in 1959. I mean, that's a while ago, to say it mildly. And Bankgiro and Autogiro are actually about to be transformed and in many ways also disappear once this new pan-Nordic banking project P27 is rolled out, which it probably will be during next year. So we believe that Bankgiro, Autogiro, everything that has to do with that is really not a future solution. Rather, you need to look at your succession plan. How will you interact with your customers in order to get paid once these services are done? And that's all we're going to say. 1959 till now, something new is coming and you need to have a plan for it. All right. Moving into the comparison then, the first key criteria, a super important key criteria, is user friendliness. And as you can see here, there's a lot of bullet points, a lot of text, and we're not going to go into it. So we thought that to save time, to really make sure that we cover the best solutions in each key criteria area, we're only going to talk about the 2 top scorers in each criteria. And in this case, you can see that it's Swish and direct payments, who in our eyes are the top performers when it comes to user friendliness. And if you want to go into the details, download the shares or watch the webinar afterwards. So Swish, talking about user friendliness, I mean, it is a solution that is limited only here to Sweden, and of course that creates a lot of limitations, but otherwise really perceived as a user-friendly solution. It's once you have it installed, of course you need to download the app, you need to configure it, but once installed, many believe that it's really super simple to use, with nice features such as the calculator, using favorites, and also the possibility to verify the recipient. Good features. A high score, actually 5 out of 5. But then we have direct payments as well. No need for downloads, no need for login or any information, just top of mind information that you already have and only a smartphone, then you're good to go. It's really versatile. It works in a lot of different channels, pretty much all digital channels. You can also verify the recipient, and there are no limitations when it comes to the amount of money you can send, or for instance, if you want to use different accounts for different payments. So maybe you have one salary account where you use that for most normal purchases, but then you might have a savings account with more money and use that for those more expensive purchases. And you want to make sure that you use the right kind of money without having to go to your internet bank to do transfers and so on. But overall, two clear high performers in this key criteria area, Swish and Direct Payments. Moving on to the second key criteria area, settlement speed. And I know that this is an area that many are talking about. Many are quite interested in how quickly will I have my money. And of course, no wonder about that. It's very intimately linked to both how fast you get paid, but also your cash flow overall. So of course, really important key criteria. And also here, as you can see, two top performers, actually both tying in on 5 points each. It's Direct Payments and Swish. Talking about Direct Payments, we can see that it's already now actually instant in many cases when you actually use these open banking rails between the banks and your providers, such as Finshark, for instance. But the really cool thing is that once this P27 Pan-Nordic banking project goes live, it's actually going to be instant transfers both in and out between all of these participating Nordic banks. It's going to be a speed of payments that nobody has ever experienced before, I would say. So not only between Swedish banks, but also actually all through the whole Nordic region. It's going to be amazing, I would say. Then talking about Swish, the runner-up, super simple in this case as well. Instant, working well, but only here in Sweden. So I would say maybe a 5 with a question mark after it, but 5 still. So two distinct top performers in this case. Just to mention perhaps cards, just to mention them as well. Cards have a much slower settlement speed, varying between 2 to 5 or even more days before you actually have the money on your bank account. So a significant difference between Direct Payments, Swish and cards. All right, what about safety then? We read a lot about frauds, we read a lot about different criminal activities regarding payments, skimming cards and all of that. What is going on when it comes to safety? Okay, in this case, maybe not a big surprise by now. This is the third key criteria, and as you can see, we have two distinct winners again. It's Swish and it's Direct Payments. We have them both coming in at 5 points each, due to some really good factors that they are carrying with them. Both of them are using strong customer authentication as a means to verify your payment. Here in Sweden, that means bank ID. In other markets, there are different strong customer authentication methods, but they work in the same way, making sure that the user is always safe. Pretty much zero fraud, zero chargeback. And of course, you can, before sending away the money, also verify that you are sending the money to the right recipient. And I think that creates a very good, positive feeling in the sender, no matter if it's a consumer or a company representative sending money, that you actually know that this money with this specific amount at this point in time is being sent to the right recipient. Very good features built into this technology. When it comes to invoices and cards, well, let's not get into that. I know that we all by now know that there are a lot of safety issues concerning especially cards. So irreversibility, that's a tricky word. I'm not really sure if I can manage to say that 5 times in a row without sounding really funny. Well, it's actually about, is there a risk of my customer canceling the payment or not after he or she has made the payment? And I know that this is something that many merchants, especially e-commerce merchants, worry about. So if somebody makes a payment and we process that order, what if we send the shirt or what if we send the shoes? Can for some reason the payment be cancelled and all of a sudden we are actually out with goods, but we won't get paid? So how will that work? And that is also really cool because, as you can see here, it's two top performers also in this key criteria area. It's Direct Payments and Swish, both coming in at 5 points each. They are both irreversible. They are both working the way that you want them to work. Actually, open banking payments, what we call here at Finshark the direct payments, they are actually constructed in a way so that they are irreversible, as actually decided by law and the regulatory technical standards that are a part of the European legislation PSD2. And if you're interested in that part, or if you would like to read up on that, we will gladly provide you all the reading material, all the links and so on. But I think this is really a cool and important factor. You can actually know that this payment will not get cancelled, so you can, with a good conscience, process your customer, send your goods, let them enter your platform, let them do whatever they want to do so that your onboarding can continue and really provide your new customer with a really good customer experience. So I think this is an important key criteria to keep in mind when you're looking at what kind of payment option would be suitable for our needs, our business. All right, moving into coverage then, and this one is a bit different, as you can see. All of a sudden we have cards popping up at the very top, taking the 5 in this case. And this is where cards, to us at least, really shines. Card is a mature solution. It's been around for a long time. It's really working globally. And that means that as a customer, you can travel pretty much everywhere around the globe and still be able to use your credit card to pay your way forward. But as a merchant, it also of course means that you can actually get paid from customers in all different markets. So it doesn't matter if your customer is from Japan, or if he's from Colombia, or from Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland. Cards are working pretty much everywhere. So they have a global coverage, and this is where you can truly see that it's an established, mature payment solution. So they get the 5-pointer in this case. I would just want to comment direct payments as the runner-up here. Direct payments is still, in many cases, a European issue. The European legislation, the PSD2, was kind of what created this open banking digital payments movement. And it's still a European concern, I would say, or still a European technology, and primarily in the northern parts of Europe. And then I'm also including UK, even though they're not a part of the European Union anymore. So the more north you come up in the European Union or the European region, the better open banking is actually working, due to the fact that the banks here are more digitalized, the APIs are in place, are stable, and so on. And the further you move to the south of Europe, the less mature the markets and the banks are. We can also see now actually that in North America, open banking is making quick progress. It's a huge market opening up, but it's not really mature enough to maybe be of interest right now. So I would say open banking payments, it's going to be there. It's just a couple of years away, but so far in this key criteria, if you want to get paid from Japan, maybe look into credit cards. Otherwise, maybe not. All right, last key criteria, that is fees. And of course, this is a key criteria that most merchants are interested in. They want to know how much will this cost me? How much money can I save? How much more money do I need to pay potentially? How is the fee structure? What am I paying for? Are there fees for getting started? Are there fees for every transaction? Are there fixed fees, moving fees? So a lot of different facets when it comes to this key criteria. And we wanted to illustrate the main differences when it comes to fees by just giving you two schematic overviews of card payments versus payment initiation. That is actually the open banking digital payments. So as you can see here, when you're looking at the card payments, it's not really hard to understand why they are quite pricey. There are lots of layers, lots of different moving parts and components. And all of those components represent pretty much an actual provider or company, and they all want to make money. So no wonder that it's actually a bit pricey. Then we're looking to the right, and you can see the schematic overview of an open banking payment, a direct payment. You can pretty much see that it's just a matter of customer, a merchant, and using the customer bank to send money to the merchant, using a provider such as Finshark to facilitate the full process. That's it. No other middleman, no other dependencies or anything like that. No wonder that the fees are also, of course, much lower. So as you can see here at the bottom, cards typically come in at somewhere between 1.5 and 3% of the transactional amount, but there are also lots of fixed fees that need to be taken into consideration, and those can change between which kind of acquirer or provider, payment service provider, etc. that you're using, but maybe also your bargaining power when it comes to setting the prices. But these are the standardized prices. And Swish, to our experience, comes in somewhere between 2 to 3 Swedish crowns for each transaction, and also comes with some fixed fees as well. Then looking at the very bottom, we have direct payments. And of course, it can also vary depending on the different settings and conditions and so on. But our experience is that direct payments is actually able to lower your costs by 50% or even more actually. So there's a lot of money to be made, a lot of money to be moved straight down to your bottom line by switching into direct payments. And as you can see at the very bottom of the slide here over to the right, you can see this small table with the scoring as well. We have direct payments coming in at 5, and then we have the other solutions coming in with lower scores as well, because this is a major difference. And I think that looking at the schematic illustrations, I think you pretty much can tell for yourselves why the costs are possible to keep at so much lower levels. Okay, so by now you're probably thinking about what is the overall score, who has got out on top, who is the winner in this payment solution comparison that we are doing now in August 2022, and a bit of digital drum rolls. And here it is. This is the overall score. We have a gold medalist bringing home the big trophy today, and it is direct payments. And of course, you might think that we are biased. We are definitely biased for a good reason. We are working with open banking technology and open banking payments. But there are many, many objective reasons to why direct payments are such a good payment solution. And we have tried to summarize some of these in this slide as well. So from an overall score of potentially 30, that is the potentially high score, you can't make more points than that. We have direct payments coming in at 28. And the reason for that, it's safe, really user-friendly, works in all types of digital channels, no limitations to the amounts that you're able to pay. You can switch between different accounts. You can initiate the payments, SMS, email, apps, website, etc. The settlement is really quick already now, and with P27 it's going to be instant all over the Nordic region. So a lot of really positive things, both for the consumer or the corporation that you have as a customer, because it works just pretty much as good for a consumer as for a company. If you're doing B2B or B2C, it doesn't really matter. And it's also really good for the merchant. And last but not least, of course, a lot lower fees, more money left in the wallet, in the bank for you as a merchant. The runner-up, a really good payment solution here in Sweden. We are happy to coexist with Swish in many different checkouts and so on. Swish coming in at 23. I think Swish is one of those apps, one of those solutions that has made everyday life better for many Swedes. It's a solution that we really enjoy. It has great perks, great functionality, but also some obvious limitations, which makes it a good solution in many cases, but not in other cases as well. So I think it's a good runner-up. Lots and lots of qualities, but not as versatile as direct payments. Then we have cards coming in as the number 3. Of course, a mature solution. I don't think it's realistic to assume that cards will disappear, but I think it's fair to kind of realize that cards are slowly but surely diminishing, and cards and the card providers are not the ones that are providing innovative new payment solutions nowadays. Rather, they're just trying to find new ways to survive a new year, another year, and so on, trying to stay relevant. But I don't think that this is what's driving innovation anymore. And then at the 4th place, a payment solution that we haven't really talked about at all, but it's still really relevant because a lot of companies are using invoices to get paid, to send billing information to their customers. And I believe that the invoice is definitely here also to stay, but it's becoming digitalized at a pretty high rate actually. So it's becoming enriched with different kinds of digital functions as well, and being used in different channels than before. and we'll actually get back to that by the end of this webinar, talking about different use cases of how you can actually still keep on working with invoices but make your customer happier and get paid quicker. So this is the overall score. Now, moving into some more application related areas, and this is something that I believe is super exciting. We can actually see that digital payments are moving into the physical offline world as well at a very high pace. So nowadays it's actually possible to have a physical customer walk into your physical venue. Let's say that you're actually a car dealer, you're selling cars, you're selling car parts, you're selling repairs and so on. You can have a customer walking into your dealer room and they want to buy a car, they want to pay for the repairs, they want to pay for the parts, and you can present them with a mobile first digital checkout that you send to them through an SMS, through an email if you want to do that. Maybe a bit strange if they're in their dealer room, but of course it's fully possible, through your app or your website. They can access the full mobile checkout in the palm of their hand, choose the payment option that suits them best. Maybe if they are buying a car, you want to either get them to pay the full amount, maybe that's what you're looking for, or maybe you still want to make sure that they actually take out a credit so that you can make money from this big purchase. You want to provide them with those options as well. Or maybe they are paying for an expensive repair, so that they maybe are looking for the opportunity to pay in installments. Maybe they want to split up that payment in 4 pieces, and you can then charge a bit higher price due to the fact that you're offering a flexible payment solution. So this is something that is moving really rapidly into offline payments. And the really interesting part is that Finshark is actually providing both payment option 1, 2, and 3 in this checkout. Pay the full amount, pay in installments, or buy now but pay in maybe 30 days. All of this is possible through open banking technology. Now I'm just going to go into a really quick demo and try to show you what it will look like if you are a customer making a purchase using direct payments. I think it's good to see the actual flow, what to expect for the customer when they are making a purchase. So as you can see here, I am a customer. I have decided to buy something for 398 Swedish crowns, and I'm in the checkout. I'm in maybe this mobile first checkout, and I've decided to continue with a direct payment. So I'm going ahead, and the next step with the Finshark flow is I'm presented with this bank list. I am a Nordea customer, so I choose Nordea. I enter my SSN to verify myself against Nordea, and then I sign with bank ID. We're accessing, Finshark is actually accessing Nordea and all my accounts, so that I'm able to choose which account do I want to use to pay these 398 crowns from. I decided to use my salary account. I continue. I sign once again using bank ID. That's it. Money on the way. I'm happy. I will receive my goods, shirt, shoes, doesn't matter. And the merchant is getting the money, maybe has the money already now, at the very latest tomorrow, but in many cases, as I mentioned before, already now or during the day. Super quick. But this is actually only the first payment. So all the subsequent payments are what we called one touch, because now we have created, or Finshark has created, this bank connection. So the following payments, let's say that I get back a while later because I realize that I also need to buy sunglasses. I decide to make another purchase using direct payments. I press continue, straight away go straight into bank ID, no bank selection, no account selection, just sign the payment, I'm done. It cannot be done quicker than this in our opinion. This is truly a one-touch payment. All right, to summarize, now that we're moving into the last part of the webinar, there are some good reasons why merchants, no matter if you are primarily doing online business or offline business, why you ought to look into digital payments. And direct payments specifically. There are good reasons why users love Finshark, why they really enjoy these direct payments. Safe, user-friendly, quick, versatile, pretty much always mobile first. Good reasons why the merchants enjoy these payments as well. Pretty much the same reasons, to be honest. And of course, the lower cost as well. Right, to finish it off, 2 different use cases. The very first, and e-commerce use case. And as you can see here, displayed with these icons instead, it's exactly the same flow that we presented with the screens recently here in the webinar. The customer is presented with the payment information, decides to proceed, choose the bank, signs with bank ID, choose the appropriate account, signs again, and the payment is done. And all the subsequent payment, doesn't matter if it's 10 crowns, if it's 10 euros, if it's 10,000 euros, or even more, it doesn't matter. Subsequent payments within this mandate, this bank connection that we have created and that we can hold for now 90 days, soon to be 180 days. All the subsequent ones are one touch. Super simple, super quick for the customers. The next one that I want to mention is this digitalized enriched invoice. We know that a lot of companies are still sending invoices. They're sending them in paper shape, they're sending them as PDFs. What you can actually do by now is that you can enrich them. You can put in a QR code so that your customer can scan with the camera and straight away just make the payment. You can enrich them by a clickable link or a clickable button. Straight away they are able to pay their invoice as well. No need to wait 30 days or anything more. This will definitely convert faster and also make the customer happy because they will straight away be able to handle the invoice without having to enter their internet bank. And if you're interested in these use cases, please reach out to us and we can explain more and show you more, of course. So, to round it off today, is open banking really revolutionizing online payments? And I would say the answer is definitely yes. It's still early days when it comes to open banking. It's still something new for many to discover and explore. But definitely, if you combine the user friendliness, the safety, the settlement speed, and the low cost, I think it's truly revolutionizing online payments. And that's it. Thanks for listening today. Thanks for participating. Really enjoyed talking about payments today with all of you. Thank you very much.